Welcome to the Conversation Starter podcast. I'm Karina Foo, and in each episode, we bring you leading experts and thought leaders of industry to share some down to earth, no frills ideas and tips to help open our minds and live our lives more meaningfully and purposefully. Today, we're chatting to Mr. Baron Lamarre, an international oil and gas expert, software inventor, and philanthropist based in Singapore and Malaysia. For over 20 years, Baron has held several senior positions in the leading oil and gas major and Fortune 500 corporation. He hopes to impart his knowledge about the insights of the trade and investment world to everyday folk so they can live their dream life. We're going to chat to him more about that and his philanthropy work in single-handedly building and establishing the BILAD School for the community in his hometown of Cameroon. So hi, Baron. Thank you for joining our conversation.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Great to have you here. Baron,
My pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Baron, look, you have a lot of things going on right now. You're an oil trader, you were a senior investor in a Fortune 500 top company. So how do you find yourself working your way up to oil and gas? And why do you want to share your insights with everyday folk?
Oh yeah, I've always been fascinated about doing something for kids. So even though I was in oil and gas, I started off as a teacher. When I graduated from university, I used to teach. I used to teach business math. I used to teach economics to some I would say pre-university students before I joined the oil and gas industry. So I'm fascinated by education. So when I joined the oil and gas, I got in and I was completely immersed with numbers about the oil market, about crude oil and so on. But I never forgot the passion I have for sugar. So then I realized that the oil and gas is a very elite world. So it's the exclusive world of a small group of people who do things that not many people understand.
Right.
So and me personally, I'm a guy who like to relate to regular people.
Yeah.
So I've always been trying to figure out how can I help the regular guy understand what is happening in this very tight, very close industry. So that motivation made me do more research, search more about what people care about, and try to provide some answers to them.
Right. Okay, that's very interesting. So, and this would have led to you, building a school for the kids in Cameroon, right? So, what actually made you build a school? Because usually people would just send some donations because it's easier, But you actually built a school from scratch. So, let us in a little bit on that, the history.
Right. It's a it's a quite funny story because I never thought I'm going to do this. To be honest with you, that wasn't my intention to build a school. But one day, more than 10 years ago, because usually on once a year I go home for holidays. So that year I went home and I saw something that really disturbed me. I saw a number of kids, some of them that I know personally. They were hanging around the street doing nothing, and I was very disturbed because I saw them as a potential lost soul, and they were doing a lot of bad stuff on the street. So I called their parents. I have a talk with them. I said, look, what's the problem? Why this kid's not going to school? And the parents told me that because they didn't have money, they couldn't afford to send them to school. So I said, okay, so I will help. I will support their education. The problem is these kids were already old. They probably, I think they were between 12 and 13 years old.
Oh, yeah.
So when we brought them to school, the school wouldn't accept them because the level of reading and writing skill were like grade 1, and they were supposed to be children of grade 6, 7, and so on. So they couldn't fit. into the age group that in which they belong. And if we were to be brought to grade 1, they were too old to hang out with the young kid. So they were neither here nor there. So what I did was that I hired a private teacher to come at home to my house and teach them. So we
in your house in Cameroon, right?
in Cameroon, that's correct.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
correct. So the private teacher started to teach them at home. So to me, it was just to bridge the gap. So I was paying the private teacher on my own, and then the word went around in the town that, hey, there's this teacher there, there's this guy there doing this thing for these kids. So the next day and the following weeks, everybody came and started to take classes from these teachers.
Wow.
One thing led to another. I found myself with almost 20 kids.
Wow. So from just a few kids, 2 or 3 kids, with more than 20 kids in a span of how long was that?
2 weeks.
Wow, a few weeks.
So I didn't expect that. I was shocked. So I made a promise to them. Okay, I'm going to make it into a school, and I didn't know what it's gonna take. I have to be honest with you, I wasn't prepared for this. So I started to do some research. I asked my team, I asked my friends to help me get the license for the school. So we put a team together. We applied for the license. We got it. So the first academic year was all conducted in my house.
Your house?
We are not built. That's right. It was. So we divided into several groups.
Okay.
And then we the group took turn to have different classes. So that was what happened.
Wow.
And then the next year we tried to raise funds to build a proper school. I got support from my siblings to give us the land, and I also used a lot of my own fund to invest in the building of the school.
Wow. So so right now, the school, how many students and teachers does the school have?
So right now we have about 1,500.
Wow, 1,500. That's amazing.
And that's right. And we have a number of permanent teachers. Almost, I think the last count probably 20 or 30. I have to check again with my team, and they are part-time teachers as well.
Wow.
Quite a number of them.
Yeah, so it's not only that you're providing an education and opportunity for these kids. You're also helping in the employment for the local people of your hometown. Yeah, that's amazing. So you are a corporate person. You have held very senior executive and managerial positions. So what are some of your key takeaways from your career that you apply to the teachings and the culture and the syllabus of the school?
Right. So in a corporate world, the number one purpose is to make money, right?
Of course.
So you want to make money, you need to know who your customers are. So when I took the school, when I launched the school, the first thing I wanted to know is who are our customers. Even though it's not a money-making enterprise, but it's still an enterprise. It's still an organization. So we need to define what the customer are. So in beginning, I thought that the parents are the customers because they're the one paying for or if they pay, they're the one sending the children. They're the one making the decision to send the children to school or not. So then I started to engage with them. I tried to listen to them, try to address their needs, and I missed the point that actually I didn't look at I didn't look closely to the interests of children. I left it to the teachers to handle them, but I was taking care of the parents while the teachers were just teaching, and it lasted for maybe the first or second year. Then I realized that the parents don't even know what they want. or at least they have different needs, different interests.
Mhm.
Different parents want different things, which cannot be satisfied. Sometimes contradictory. So whereas the children want the same thing, they all want to learn.
Mhm.
So I changed my perception, my view, my model of managing the school from parents being the customers to teachers to students. The kids are the customers.
Mhm.
So in the second year or third year, we become student focused.
Yep.
I not that I ignore the parents, but they were no longer my focus. The
Mhm.
focus became the student. So
Of
we
course.
define that. What I learned from the corporate world is that the definition of your customer is very important. So we
Okay.
define the children as customers.
Yep.
So by focusing on the children, then we started to take action that give them the best quality of education, the best output possible.
Yes.
And this is one of the key lessons that I learned from the corporate world and apply in my school.
Yep.
Defining who the customer is.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent. We're taking a short break for now, but we'll be back for part 2 in the next podcast with Baron as we talk more about the school he set up for the children and community in Cameroon. Stay tuned.